All right, we'll call the meeting of the Hampstead Town Council order. Please rise for the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Lord, we submit ourselves to you as your servants and the servants of the people of Hampstead who place their trust in us. Please allow every word that is spoken and every action taken to be in the best interest of Hampstead and for everyone here tonight to be a stabilizing influence in these unsettled times. O Lord, bless this meeting and our town. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's you. Roll call.
Mayor Nevin.
Here.
Councilmember Barrett.
Here.
Councilmember Painter.
Here.
Councilmember Thomas.
Here.
Councilmember Oglesby.
Here.
And Councilmember Zolman is excused.
Minute approvals for the council meeting of December 12th, which I was not able to attend, but thank you, Wayne, for sitting in. I had a business trip and couldn't make it. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you. When you're ready, Jim.
Okay. So the town's water system modernization and centralization project. Town staff continue to meet with our engineering partners to work on the design phase and process to move forward with this project. There are stipulations in the grant and the forgivable loan that construction must begin by the end of 2024 and construction must be complete by June of 2026. It's a very tight window. Each step in this project needs to be approved by the MDE, with many steps having to go to the state's Board of Public Works to approve the spending. Additionally, the site plans for the 4 water treatment plants will need to be reviewed by Carroll County. Each of these approvals can be a very time-consuming process. Town staff met with the Carroll County Department of Development and Review yesterday to discuss the different parts of the project the county will need to review and discuss the most efficient way to present and expedite the plans. And myself and Tom went over. We met with Laura Matthias, who is the Bureau Director of Development and Review, and Pat Vargas, who was on her staff, and it was a very good meeting, and basically they're going to work with us whatever we need to get them expedited through their system. Town staff also hopes to meet again with the MDE in early February to discuss several items necessary to get the different processes moving, including the pre-selection of the granular activated carbon equipment. If we can pre-select this equipment, it's going to result in time savings down the road. The annexation, the application and resolution for the annexation of the Stagg property was scheduled to be introduced to council this evening. However, issues with providing the town with a correct annexation plat has delayed introduction. The annexation will now be introduced in February, with a public hearing being scheduled in April. And this property is the home of the Penguin Random House Distribution Center. The purchase of the Shiloh Road parcel, the Westwood Park parcel. The contract to sale, it's been agreed by both parties and should be signed by both parties later this week. We can then proceed to settlement. It will be handled by Michelle Ostrander, our town attorney. The purchase of this land, which will be used, we really need it for the construction of the new Shiloh water treatment plant, will be complete by the end of February. The finance department, Cheryl, is continuing to work with the closing of the 2023 calendar year. All 1095s and 1099s must be distributed to employees and vendors by January 31st. Our payroll company, Paylocity, prepares the W-2s, and we will distribute them to our employees upon receipt. The town of Hampstead is once again pleased to offer 4 $1,000 scholarships to high school students who reside within the town limits and have been accepted into a college or university. The application is available for download at the Town of Hampstead website, www.hampsteadmd.gov, under News and Announcements. Applications will be accepted through Friday, April 26th at 4 p.m. and they can be emailed to here at Town Hall. They can be dropped off to Town Hall, or you can email them to Judy Rang at jrang, that's J-R-A-N-G, at hampsteadmd.gov. And then finally, to wrap up, Candy Cane Lane on Main. Hampstead's annual Main Street decorating contest was a huge success, I think. This year was the largest yet. We had 7 residences and 9 businesses entered the contest. Congratulations go out to Pipe to Side Brewing, A Manner of Time, the Roses, and the Campbells on winning gift cards to local businesses. The way we work this is we post pictures of each property's decorations on Facebook, and the entries who receive the first or second most likes, residential and business, win the gift cards. This was pretty amazing. The 4 posts that were related to this that we posted on Facebook, which the one was the introduction of the properties. There was one for residential and one for business. And then at the end, we posted the winners, one for residential, one for business. They were seen by over 50,000 different people. Wow. So I think that's not too shabby for a town of 6,400 people.
Yep.
When we started this, we were like, it was during the COVID era, and we just need something to help brighten up people with the holiday season. And as it goes along, it gets bigger and bigger, and I think it really helped brighten our downtown and shed some light, pun intended, on the town. So
Very good.
that's it.
Our thanks to all those who participated and to Kevin and his elves for such a great job decorating Main Street. It gets a lot of positive comments every year, so much appreciated. Oversights, Diane.
The Farmers Market Advisory Team held our first meeting of 2024 last night. The first day of the market season will be Saturday, June 1st. Coppermine has committed to hosting the market for the full 2024 season. The vendor fee for the full season remains at $170 for all 18 Saturdays, which works out to $10 per day with 1 day free. This base fee is for a standard 10 by 10 foot square space. Vendors who need more room for their merchandise can pay an additional $45 seasonal fee for each 10 by 10 add-on to their space. The daily fee for vendors who will only be participating for a small number of days is $45 per day. Musicians are lined up for 11 of the 18 dates. If you or someone you know is a local musician who would like to get more community exposure, please message the Facebook page or send an email via the link on our website to find out which dates are still available. That's it.
Good. Wayne?
Hampstead Train Station Committee, the train station is obviously closed for the season. Music in the Park, we're actually looking at some newer bands that we haven't played before. But we do have 3 booked for the event already this year. And then the Tree Commission, it meets tomorrow night. Judy gave us some information about a grant that's available through the state, and we're going to look at some properties that we can use that grant money on, so we can get it done by February 15th. That's it.
Okay. Deb?
The Planning and Zoning Commission met on Wednesday, December 27th, and they recommended approval of signage for Spring Garden to the council, which is on our agenda this evening. It's a new monument sign which will keep parents informed of current events. It's about 7 feet tall and 5.6 inches wide.
5 foot 6 inches.
5 foot 6 inches wide, yes. And it will auto dim at night to about 10%.
Feet wide.
Feet, 5 feet,
6 inches
6
wide.
inches wide.
That's what she, yeah.
That's what I said.
Oh, all right. It's just my hearing.
8 feet tall, 5 feet 6 inches wide.
Okay.
All right, good. There was an approval of the zoning certificate for Pivot Energy solar panel installation at 1400 Panther Drive. The panels will all be on the rooftop and not visible. There will be some pieces of electrical equipment on the ground to include a transformer, an electrical meter, and some other things. So the Planning and Zoning Commission decided to postpone until someone from Pivot Energy was in attendance due to the many questions on the space for the equipment and the location. And that was it for that. And we have the water report. The December 2023 average water usage was 345,000 gallons per day. Total gallons of water pumped for 2023 is 126 million, which was an average of 345,000 gallons per day compared to 124,721,000 gallons, an average of 342,000 gallons per day for 2022. It's a lot of numbers. January 2024 average water usage so far, 333,000 gallons per day. Rainfall for December 2023 was 6.15 inches.
Finally,
What?
finally.
Yes. Total so far for January is 1.01 inches. I would assume that doesn't count today.
No, that does not count today.
With temperatures forecasted to remain below freezing the week of January 15th, Public Works encourages all of our water customers to make sure they have disconnected their outside hoses from the exterior faucets. Additionally, if your water lines have been prone to freezing, make sure you open access panels to ensure proper heat distribution.
That is your report.
That is my report.
All right, thank you. Dave, last but not least.
Yes, sir. Last month I attended the first annual State of the State MML event in Annapolis. That was given by Professor Basu. We looked at some economic challenges in the state, what we're going to be facing with budgets and what have you over the next few months. And he gave us some ideas on what he thinks individual towns can do and the state can do to probably pick some of that, take care of some of the problems. Tonight I'm going to go over real quick the scholarship that I'm in charge of. I don't really have anything for the parks at this point. So, 2024 Carroll County chapter of the Maryland Municipal League Scholarship. This year again, we're going to offer 3 $1,000 scholarships to Carroll County high school students who have been accepted into a college or university in Carroll County. The students must be enrolled in this university in a graduate or undergraduate program for the 24-25 school year. The application is now available on the town's website, and the application will also be available at your Carroll County High School guidance offices. Also, the applications for this must be into the town hall here by the same deadline as the town scholarship, be 4 p.m. on Friday, April 26, 2024. And one final thought, you must live in a municipality in the Carroll County, in the town limits, to be eligible for the scholarship.
And also, I mean, if you live in the town of Hampstead, you're eligible and you're welcome to apply for both scholarships. So, one-stop shopping.
Very good. All right. Chief, you're up.
Well, good evening, everyone. Technical problems with that. I'll speak up, though. During the month of December, we investigated 11 accidents. 10 were minor, 1 was reportable. 3 took place in 42 Circle. Speed signs were set at 4 locations, 62 days of display. With reference to traffic enforcement, we conducted 29 selective enforcements over a 19-hour period. Actions during that activity included 22 citations, 20 warnings, 1 suspended driver arrest, and 1 DUI arrest. Overall traffic enforcement included 228 citations and 224 warnings. We conducted 479 property checks with reference to crime activity. We investigated 1 CDS incident, 3 verbal domestics, 2 thefts under $500, 1 sexual assault allegation involving a known party, 1 trespass incident, 1 fraud. Arrests included 8 traffic-related offenses, 5 DUIs, 1 CDS violation, 2 thefts, 1 warrant service, and 1 individual was charged with resisting arrest. Training included 205 hours of various topics, including the CN1 and CN2 certifications that I've mentioned before, TASER initial and recertification classes, classes in human trafficking, anti-bias training, police basic instructor certification. We were able to get 1 officer through the basic school, and we recertified our first aid and CPR instructors. Some of these you hear from meeting to meeting, and the reason behind that, just so everyone understands, is sometimes it's difficult for us to complete all the training in 1 month. We have to break it up based on guys' schedules and everything else that we have going on. Our community events included attending the annual Catherine's Cause event. I mentioned last month the Shop with a Cop event, which was a success. And also we attended the Wreaths Across America with the mayor and some of the members of council. And that would be my report.
Questions for Dave?
Well, today is National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, so thank you and you and your team for
you.
keeping us safe.
Appreciate it.
Good job. Mayor's report. We're on the eve of the Maryland legislative session, so stay tuned. Juvenile justice, we'll see if that goes anywhere, if there's going to be any adjustments there. And then the other piece of it is how they're going to make the budget work this year. They've gone from a surplus to a deficit in 1 year. So we'll see how that all plays out. I'm on the MML Maryland Legislative Committee, so that starts meeting weekly tomorrow. We'll see what goes from there. Beginning of the year, there's lots of economic updates out there. Dave mentioned the one that MML hosted in December. The Maryland Bankers had one last Friday, which was quite interesting. Never been the one. Basu was the primary speaker, as he is at a lot of these around the state. But he doesn't see positives ahead for 2024. He actually is thinking that at some point we're going to see a recession. He says he's going to keep predicting a recession until we see one. But there was, and he based that on basically the consumers running out of gas, and our economy's 70% consumer driven. You see that in the credit card numbers, you see that in the delinquencies for credit cards, you see that in the delinquencies for auto loans, not so much home loans. They're staying relatively flat. There was three economists on the board with him. One economist agreed with him, but then the other two guys were like, we don't see any problem with 2024. So that's 2 seeing a recession, 2 not. So who knows how it will work out. And then the Fed governor for Richmond spoke briefly and then answered some questions, and people asked him where they saw interest rates going. It was quite an interesting comment that he made, that we're at 5.5 for the interest rate today. He thinks the neutral rate is 2.5 to 3%. So the economy will back off, the rates will back off a little bit, but there's a standard of deviation of 2%. So anywhere from 0.5 to 5 in the next year is where he sees things are. So basically, he said they're dependent on data. So so there was absolutely no consensus at all as to where things are going. I've seen another one where our economist talks about, I think rates are going to be higher for longer, and one of the reasons that makes sense to me is that it's interesting to see that over the last 5 years, businesses just refinanced everything they could, and they've pushed out their maturity dates. So I think it's like 16 to 20% of their debt's coming due in the next 2 years. The federal government, on the other hand, with their increasing deficits, is done 2-year finance. Most of it's been 2-year treasuries. So they're like 50% of their debt is coming due in the next 2 years. So, you see one graph doing this, that's the business, and you see the other graph doing that, and that's the government. So they're going to be subject to higher interest rates sooner. Then you go to who's buying the treasuries. It used to be a lot of sovereign funds, Japan, China, et cetera, but they were the 2 biggest. You look at a chart of who's buying it now, and it's an ever-increasing amount of debt that's out there, right? And China and Japan are trending down, and the biggest buyer of domestic debt for our treasuries is private hedge funds. They're not doing this out of the goodness of their heart. They're going to want to see a return. They like that 5% return. So, hence, rates higher for longer. So we'll see how it all plays out, but there's absolutely no consensus on 2024 from the couple of things that I've been to. So that's my take on our budget. We're getting ready to approve the spending of a whole lot of money, but for good reason. But the residential market is holding up very well, so property taxes are just fine. Everybody still has a job, so the income tax piece of it's just fine. The highway user revenue funds, not so fast. We got notice that MML had worked out a deal with the General Assembly that we were going to see increases for a few years in a row. Well, with the new administration coming in, and they're renewing their focus on mass transit, but they did not cut ours, they just capped it. So we're going to stay where we are, which is we can live with for the next couple of years before it has to get reworked in either 26 or 27. So we'll see where that goes. So at least for the short term, our highway user revenues will continue to be able to pave roads. And we paved almost 1 mile of roads, or over 1 mile of roads in this past year. So we're staying on course with all that. So there you go. That's what we got. Like I said, we'll stay tuned on what happens with the legislative session. So there is no unfinished business, new business. We need the approval of the assignments for Spring Garden Elementary School at 700 Boxwood Drive. You got that working now? Hi, Wendy.
It works.
Not a problem.
It's on.
I'm Wendy Lodger. I'm the principal at Spring Garden Elementary, and our PTA, or the parents and community, have raised just over $25,000 for funds for an electronic sign. It would replace our sign that's over 33 years old, original to the school being built. It does not have electricity. I can tell you myself, I've changed the letters many a times. It's really worn and a challenge to keep current for parents. So our PTA feels that so many of our families live right in Roberts Field and drive right by the sign every day. And because of our early start time, we have about a third of our students are dropped off in the morning, at least, so parents would see that sign with the current information. We did bid out per Carroll County Public Schools policy, and Strickler Signs was awarded that bid. So Ron Thomas can tell you more about the specifics of the sign, but we would be, programming it on a daily basis and responsible for all of that right at the school level. School system does the electricity and all of that piece of it, and works with Strickler.
Hello, I'm Ron Thomas, Strickler Sign Company. We're very familiar with your town, done a lot of work here. Most recently, we installed the monument signs at each end of town.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you. Glad you're pleased. And we also installed a new digital at the fire department. That sign down there is the exact make and model, or not exact make, manufacturer is the one that the school is gonna buy, Daktronics. Full color sign, basically, you all have drawings, I assume? Okay. So the top ID box, we call the top ID box, Spring Garden Elementary School, is static, it will not change. It's LED, an internal box with LED lighting. And then the bottom part, this is the class of 2036, the example we put there, that's the message board portion of it. That's where the school can program all kinds of messages. Like Wendy said, school events, when school's closed, when report cards are coming out, all the stuff that the parents need to know. It's a dream to program. It's cloud-based software. They can do it from any computer anywhere in the world, as long as it has Wi-Fi, internet. So the messages will just change. There's no animation, there's no blinking, there's no flashing, nothing like that related to it, same as the fire hall. The sign does auto dim at night, only runs about 10% of the power at night as it does during the day. It doesn't scroll by a photo cell on the sign. So when it gets dark, it auto dims down. A lot of times with Daktronics, they use the photo cell. If there's a really bad thunderstorm and it gets really dark, it'll auto dim as well. So there's no problem with it being too bright or anything like that. They're programmed for that. It's a small sign. It's only 7 feet high, 28 square feet. The digital sign is, the active area that actually lights up is about 17 square feet. It's about 10 square feet smaller than the one at the fire hall.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll just install that on their property and let them have at it. Can I answer any questions?
From a town code standpoint, for the most part, electronic variable message signs are prohibited throughout the town, with the exception they are allowed on school properties, Hampstead Volunteer Fire Department, and also on local, state, or federal government properties. And the process that these approvals need to go through is they need to be reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission, which they did, and recommended back to council, and then approved by town council. The other thing that I found that might be of interest to you all is we went looking back, and Elizabeth found when the Shiloh Middle and Hampstead Elementary signs were approved back in whenever that was, I think 13 years ago. There was a clause put in that they are turned off between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. simply because they're in a semi-residential area, especially Shiloh Middle. So that may be something you would want to add to the approval.
Since they auto dim, I don't see that need.
That's fine. I just wanted to make everyone aware of it.
And we did ask when they were at the planning and zoning last month that the sign doesn't face those houses across the street, it faces the roadway, so,
The viewing angles won't allow it.
right. All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the sign at Spring Garden Elementary at 700 Boxwood Drive.
Second.
Second by Dave. Any further conversation? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. 2036. Seriously? That's the kindergartners.
That's scary.
I'm young.
We had one here.
Yeah, Charlie's,
Charlie brought Nora with
Oh,
him
really?
last
Yeah.
meeting.
Uh,
Oh, that's cool.
what was she gonna be, 2020,
It's 2037. I think.
2037, yeah.
I know Nora.
She's adorable.
All right. You good?
Yep.
All right. You're up for the next two.
Alrighty, so as everyone's aware and as we've been talking about for a while, we've got this PFAS project that stemmed up with our water system, and it's led us to investigate and look into ways to deal with it, and we were very proactive on it, and jumped right into the project, and we knew that it was going to be a $20 to $25 million project, and as everyone knows, we applied for some grants and loans, and we were awarded $19.5 million combined between a grant from EPA and a loan from MDE. Once we got that money, we actually extended the project a little bit, and then we added 28 and 29 into it. That would have been something that would have had to have happen in the very near future if we were going to have any growth in the town. So it was a necessary add, and we figured while we're doing this, let's do it all. So we're basically looking at possibly a $7 million difference between what we are receiving and funding and what the project's going to cost. As I discussed this morning, in the staff report, these processes, everything has a long time involved with it. So if we had gone ahead and tried to run the design process, picking out designers and engineers through MDE, it could have put us back 4 to 6 months. If we did that, we would have never been able to start the project on time. We also probably may not have been able to get the engineering firms that we are comfortable with, the ones that have been helping with the project to this point. So what we discussed, and we discussed it with the mayor, and we discussed it internally, we felt that the best path forward is, since we were going to be out of pocket a significant amount of money, let's use some of that out of pocket money up front, get this project started, and get the team that we want on board to design and engineer everything for us. So that's led us to this point. We're looking for 2 engineering firms, HDR Engineering and GMB Engineering, and they're splitting the work up between the two. They will be working, coordinating together throughout the process, and GMB is doing the design for 2 of the wastewater treatment plants. They're also designing the pipelines, and they're doing the surveying and the easement plats, and then along with other tasks. And then HDR, they're designing 2 of the water treatment plants, and they're procuring the information and the documents to purchase the GAC skids for all 4 wastewater or water treatment plants. So you have those 2 contracts, and then there's additional contract for HDR, which is task order 6, which is a $25,000 task. And what that is basically outside of the scope of the engineering. That is a project management service contract that basically one of the engineers from HDR is going to take time and oversee the project, and he's going to assist with regulations related to the EPA grant and the EPA forgivable loan. He has a large history in that background. He also will do coordination with of all the engineering reviews. He'll coordinate with GMB throughout the process, make sure everything's going smoothly. He will coordinate the quality control and review everything to make sure it's up to the standards that we require. He will be managing the budget and the schedule, making sure we're staying on time and on line with the budget. And he will also facilitate invoicing and meetings throughout the process. So that's a brief overview of the reasons why we're coming to council, asking for the approval of these contracts.
Throw the numbers out there, please.
Yeah.
Ma'am,
Let's go
so,
with number 2 first.
okay, so number 2, which is GMB, we're looking for the award of one contract from GMB.
No, number 2 is the HDR.
Okay, HDR, we've actually have 2 contracts there. So we have the one for the PFAS treatment and centralization project for $1,364,029. And then we have the second contract for task 6, which is $25,000.
I'm making a motion to approve both those contracts.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
All righty. And then as far as GMB Engineering is, we have a contract from them for the PFAS treatment centralization project in the amount of $1,497,596.37.
Make a motion to approve that contract.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anything to add? You did a good job summarizing that. Thank you.
Very good job.
Thank you all.
So, thanks to our engineers. So far, so good. So that's some money that we just approved to get this done, which will be spent between now and the end of the year. We have $1.5 million in American Rescue Plan money that's left over, which will be allocated to that. There's a little bit of money that's in the kitty that we can handle that as well, plus we will get a bond for the balance of the funds. The bonding will then roll into the construction part of the job where we have the forgivable loan and the grant money coming in. So it'll be a revolving fund for a little bit. It'll be interesting as we progress, but I would imagine the way it works, we have to put the money out. We'll have a line of credit with our bank more than likely to put that money out and cover the upfront costs until we can get the approval and the funding from the state. And then at the end of time, we'll have a bond that will probably in total have about $8 million outstanding on between the engineering and the construction. Far better than having a bond for $28 million. So, my thanks to Jim and our engineers and to Kevin and Toby and Tom for everything they did. We could have, moaned and groaned and bellyached about here's another regulation that we had to deal with, but it was suggested early on to us that we get in line very quickly and very soon, which we did, and the payoff is we're one of the first and only that are available and ready to go and get the money that was available out there, and it will have much less impact on our water users than originally we thought we might have to deal with. So my thanks to everybody for jumping on board with that. So and there's no ordinance and resolutions. There are any public comment? You guys want to add anything? You good? All right.
I gave him an invoice
All right. Any public comments? Marlene, Doug, thanks for coming out on a rainy, windy night. It could have been snowing. We could have had 2 feet. So we'll take the rain. Yes. For our budget, we'll take the rain, especially if it's going to be a 2-foot storm. All right. No other comments. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And thank you all that were out there listening. Happy birthday to my dad, 89 years old today. And go Ravens. Between now and our February meeting, I think even the Super Bowl will have been held. So here's hoping they do well in the playoffs.